Which of the following is equal to sine pi over 5? A. Negative cosine pi over 5. B. Negative sine pi over 5. C. Cosine 3 pi over 10. Or D. 7 pi over 10. If you answered C, 3 pi over 10, you would be correct. But what if the value of student scores differ depending on external factors like their race? According to Merriam-Webster, affirmative action is an active effort to improve the employment or educational opportunities of members of minority groups and women. First coined in 1961 by John F. Kennedy, affirmative action was used to address racial disparities in a step towards the national goal of equal opportunity and rights. Essentially, policies were placed to balance out an otherwise uneven playing field due to earlier educational advantages white students received. However, affirmative action has triggered passionate discussion today on whether it is truly a solution to solving racial inequities.
Well, how does affirmative action work anyway? At most institutions of higher learning, there are a lot more people who apply than there are spaces. So there has to be some method of choosing from among this large pool of able students.
We believe very strongly in excellence. And so, but at the same time, we believe in diversity. So it's not like by admitting diverse students, we're somehow watering down the excellence of UCLA. No, UCLA is very diverse, it's increasingly diverse, and it's also increasingly excellent. Different communities bring different perspectives, they bring different ideas, they bring different ways of looking at problems. And all the research shows that when you have diverse groups, the product of those teams is superior, it's better than when you have people who all look the same, who all think the same, who all come from the same place. At the end of the day, that doesn't produce the type of excellence that the world needs.
However, others believe that affirmative action is heavily flawed. In Fisher v. University of Texas, Abigail Fisher applied and was rejected from the school, which considers race in admissions. This was stated as unlawful, but the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Texas, who said it promoted diversity. We spoke to Bert Ryan, who was Fisher's attorney in the lawsuit.
I don't think we were pleased with the result. I think it's a case that will recur. It has recurred. Other schools using similar techniques have been challenged. I suspect the Supreme Court will hear that same challenge again in the very near future.
Here's one. Now what's SFFA? It's Students for Fair Admissions, an organization led by Edward Blum that have sued schools for their affirmative action policies in the hopes of creating a colorblind future. In 2014, they sued Harvard for their discrimination of Asian Americans in admissions. They argue that Harvard favors Black and Hispanic students while Asians with generally higher SAT scores, grades, and more extracurriculars are left to compete within their own race and held to higher standards. But why?
First criterion is that a group would be at risk educationally and in skills acquisition. And secondly, that at-risk status be due to a history of legal and social subordination. Race fits that category, African Americans fit that category, women do not, Asians do not, and so on.
The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Harvard. This was a major defeat for not only the plaintiff, but for many Asian Americans. Asians are perceived as the model minority, a high-income group with high scores but lacking personality and qualities. The stereotype of Asians paying for programs that could get them ahead of others further harms Asian applicants. Thus, they feel the need to stand out. In a study by Princeton, Asian Americans had to score 140, 270, and 450 points higher on the SAT than their white, Hispanic, and Black counterparts. We spoke with lead insider of the Harvard lawsuit, Kenny Xu, who is the president of nonprofit Color Us United, as well as author of An Inconvenient Minority, a book about the fight against Asian American quotas due to high levels of Asian achievement.
I don't think your culture should be for you or against you in the admissions process. You should be able to articulate your own background and your own experiences, your own struggles, and they should be judged according to the quality of your ability to articulate that. So I don't necessarily want to place one culture above another in the college admissions process.
In an article, he wrote that from 1996 and 2011, Asians were kept to between 15 and 18% of Harvard's student body. But if Harvard followed an only academic-based process, Asians would be 43%.
As new statistics and data is released, the government will definitely see debates and trials regarding affirmative action resurfacing as the next generations rise into higher education as well as into the workforce.